Hey, how's it going? My name is Richie086, and today I'll be showing you how to use the tool named LandMap2 in Backtrack 5. Basically, what LandMap2 does is it allows you to generate a graphical image that shows all of the devices on your network, and it'll show each device it'll show an icon like a penguin for Linux, a little Windows logo for Windows. Mac machines, I think, show up as an apple. Different devices will have different icons, and basically, it just generates a actual graphical image of your internal network or local area network. So, the program I have open right here is called VirtualBox, and what VirtualBox does is it allows you to virtually run any operating system, any version of Linux, FreeBSD, any other version of Windows, even OS X if you do a little bit of modification of some of the files, but it actually will allow you to run OS X. Anyways, so as you see here, I have a couple different virtual machines already installed. I'm going to go ahead and start my Backtrack Linux install by double-clicking on it. And it's starting up. Just a little note for anyone who's new at using VirtualBox, if you want to get a larger screen size, or at least bigger than 640 by 480 or whatever the default screen size is, you have to install the VirtualBox tools add-on, and it's pretty simple to do. Or the guest editions, that's what it's called. So you go to devices, install guest editions, and that would install that package once you're already in Linux. Anyways, it's not part of this tutorial. So I'm going to log in. And right now I am logged in as root at the terminal. But what I want to do is, because what most people are probably familiar with is the graphical interface in Backtrack, so I'm going to type start X to start that. It'll start up GNOME, which is the graphical interface. Okay. So in Backtrack, how most people, I would assume, would be accessing LandMap and not really understanding how it works is probably through applications. Go to Backtrack, information gathering, network analysis, and network scanners. Go down to LandMap 2, click on it, and it's automatically going to start up your a session, basically assuming that you are using your first Ethernet port as your connection to the rest of your network. So as you can see, it's already starting to collect some data, just to make sure that it actually gets all of the data that for at least a couple packets from each machine on my network. So when it generates the map, it shows all of the devices. I'm going to open up a tab and use the command nmap, which is a network scanning tool. And the arguments I'm going to give nmap are going to be -vv, which means be very verbose, or give me as much information as output as you can, -A, which means do all scans, and then I'm going to tell it to scan my local network, which is 192.168.1.star. Hit enter. And as you can see, it's scanning stuff. And don't be too alarmed if you notice a bunch of open ports on your local network, because that is pretty common to see a bunch of open ports on your local network. You should have a good firewall, though, protecting between all of these computers and the internet, that is actually going to be stopping any malicious traffic to any of these ports. So while that's running, go back over here. As you can see, this is still capturing data. And all of this data basically is what it uses to actually generate the actual graphical image map of your network. So as soon as nmap is done, which should be done in a sec, go back here. As you can see, it says I have 7 hosts on my network, which sounds about right because I have various computers and whatnot on my network, Linux, Mac, everything else. And that's still going. Still capturing data. So after this is all done running, basically what we're going to do is run a script that's actually going to take this output and put it into some kind of usable format that generates the actual, the image of your network. And let's go back over here. It's still going. Come on. Now, while this is running, kind of just waiting for everything to finish, I would like to mention, if you are new to Backtrack, I would personally recommend setting it up in a virtual machine, or if you have an extra computer, laptop lying around, go ahead and run it on that. But I would not recommend, especially if you're kind of new to Linux, using this as your primary operating system or your primary, distribution for day-to-day use. It's really good at all the hacking tools and security utilities, but it's not so good at being a regular day-to-day use distribution. I would go with Ubuntu, FreeBSD, Fedora, whatever you're comfortable with, and try to stick with something and learn the ropes, and then you might be able to improve some of your skills with Backtrack, because a lot of these tools in Backtrack are not for the total noobs, basically. So, come on. As you can see, that's still capturing data. It's almost done. And there's another little tip in Nmap: if you hit enter, it's done. If you hit enter while it's running, it'll actually show you an update as to where it is in the progress of the scan. So now that that is done, what we want to do is come over here, and this is the window that we had land map running in. So to cancel it capturing data, you're going to hold down Control and Z, as in zebra. It's not working. I guess Control C works. So, now if we take a look at the README file, basically what it suggests is, that's the command to start capturing. That's actually what it runs. And it's assuming you're running it as root. Now it says to generate a graph, after letting the capture run for a while, run this command. Copy. And I'm going to quit. And this is another one: if you are new to Linux, you can paste something that is copied into the clipboard if you have a mouse with a middle mouse button. Just press the middle mouse button, it'll paste it. It's kind of cool. So the command is cd graph. So there's a folder in here called graph, and then it's telling it to basically run a shell script inside of the graph folder and create the graph for us. So what that's doing right there is taking all of the data from the network scan that I generated using Nmap, as well as the data collected by LandMap2 to generate an actual image of my network. So what I'm going to do now is go to Places up here, go to Computer, and as you can see, Pentest Enumeration LandMap2. So I'm going to go File System, Pentest Enumeration LandMap2. And now inside of the graph folder? Yes, inside of the graph folder, you will see an image called net.png, which is the output. And here you go. So this is a basic map of my network. Here's my network attached storage. here's the computer I'm actually using to run Nmap. As you can see, all the arrows are kind of pointing to my computer because it was the source of all of the traffic that it captured. And these arrows represent either a one-way conversation between the two computers, or a obviously a two-way connection between the two computers. Now, if you happen to know PHP at all, obviously this might not be the ideal map of your network. So, if you know PHP at all you have to do is go into the graph directory. So let's go back to the LAN map directory. If you see the directory graph, do a directory listing, and if we look at the contents of gengraph.php, basically, yeah, you just have to know a little bit of PHP code, but this is the actual code that generates that graph. So, as you can see, apply mapping to address, how to label things inside and outside of the cloud, as you can see down here. Oh, where'd it go? Outside cloud. And draw nodes. So, if you really want to get crazy with it, you can go in there and try to figure out what the code's doing. It doesn't look too complicated as long as you know a little bit of programming. Definitely, it helps to know a little bit of PHP. Yeah, but that's basically the file that actually generates the eventual map. So, hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to use LAN map 2. Alright, bye.